Hey, welcome to week 3 of the weekly trainings for Faithful Transportation in York. Thank you again for listening to me go over our mission and our core values at the live staff training. So I'd like to go over those again and spend the rest of our time just sharing different driver stories on how you all are connecting with your students. So the mission of Faithful Transportation is that every student feels valued and has a safe run. So we get that mission done by our 3 core values, which are safety, professionalism, and connecting first. So connecting first is really the deep dive of training that we're working on right now. And what I would like to do is highlight some of the ways the drivers in York, as well as the drivers in Lancaster, are choosing to connect with their students. So I'm just going to go over a few different stories. The reason that I'm reading these stories is that I hope, number one, it inspires you, because these are not, it's not me sharing a story of something that I did. It's your fellow drivers who are out there working hard, and they are connecting with their students. I also hope that some of these stories give you some strategies on how you may be able to connect with a student that you're having a hard time with. So Barbara said that she had a heartwarming experience just yesterday. One of my students that I've been transporting for a while now is unable to talk. So I just talked to him, hoping I get some kind of response. Yesterday, when I got him home, I just looked back at him and waved, and he waved back. And I could also see through the mask that he was smiling. Made my day. Sometimes it takes longer than you want, but you never stop trying. Great job, Barbara. I love that story because Barbara took the initiative to talk to a student who was unable to respond. And this is really basic, but it's so important and it bears repeating. Everybody wants to connect. Even if the student can't connect back to you verbally, they want to be connected with as well. So I have no idea the cognitive ability of this student, but somehow maybe the student understood everything Barbara was saying. Maybe he didn't, but somehow on a heart level, he felt like Barbara was talking to her because she actually talking to him because she actually was, and he started to respond. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Melissa shared a long one. There's really 2 separate ones in here that we'll highlight. She said, when I leave the yard in the morning, I drive a single boy from a daycare to the school. It's a very long ride, but we've made great progress in our talking and our friendship. Afterward, I pick up 4 children in the city and drop them off at a school. This is where my challenge begins. Yes, we do interact, but there's a big age difference of the kids and a lot of challenges in each one of them individually. So getting them to meld together and have a safe and happy ride to and from school was extremely hard at the beginning. I've been praying about the best solution and how to better take care of these kids. I switched some seats around, allowing the older 2 boys to take turns in the middle bench of the van, and I reseated one of the younger ones in the very back. This has seemed to work well, and now the interaction is becoming more pleasant, a lot more peaceful, and the timely matter of getting them to and from school safely has become a whole lot less challenging. I love that because Melissa saw the challenge, and the way that she dealt with it is that she prayed, which I think is a great strategy if you're someone who does that. And she decided to switch the seats around on her van. And sometimes something as simple as that can change really the flow of interactions and how that van works. And it sounds like so far, it's worked very, very well. And then the second half of this is a story that I think is wonderful. Another situation with a nonverbal student. One of the young kids is nonverbal. He never reacted to anything that I've said. One day, as we were going by a lake, I said, "Look at the ducks." And the next day, when we passed by the water, he said, "Duck." I said, "Did you see the ducks?" And he said, "Yeah." And the next day, I called him by name and asked him if he was okay. Again, he said, "Yeah." And just this morning, We had our first true eye contact as we passed by the lake on the way to school. I said to all of them, look at the ducks. And again, he said, duck. Not 5 minutes later, when we arrived at school, he did not want the school helper to take him out of his seat. I'd gotten the other young girl out and thanked her for being peaceful. And in return, she surprised me with a hug. As the school helper went to get somebody to assist with the boy, I reached in to see if he would allow me to take his seatbelt off. As I reached in, he released his seatbelt peacefully and grabbed his backpack and let me help him as he jumped out of the van onto the sidewalk. This is the first time he's ever fully trusted my help. That was progress for sure. Today was smooth and a peaceful day. And Melissa's saying she's been on the job for just 3 weeks, and it's amazing to see how much things have changed. That's awesome, 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 Melissa. So thank you for doing that. And once again, isn't it amazing how something as simple as, look at that duck and the student connecting over a duck builds that connection and builds that trust. And so Melissa was the one who could help him get off the van when the school helper couldn't, and they were running to get help. That's awesome, Melissa. Great, great job. So I think that's all I'll share for today. There's 2 stories from both drivers that are colleagues of yours at the York Depot. So have a great rest of your week. I hope that you're inspired with some of those connecting stories. And I'd love to hear more ways that you are connecting with your students. So if you would post underneath that, ways that you're connecting with your students, I would love to hear that. And I know that the other drivers in the depot would love to hear that as well. Have a great one.